Moving on to the big story that we're tracking. The Enforcement Directorate launching a probe into Yes Bank management, and there's a special scrutiny into the link between DHFL, already an organization under scanner, and Yes Bank owner or founder Rana Kapoor. Republic TV has accessed inside details of the probe that reveal that DHFL sanctioned a loan of 600 crore rupees to a venture that has a direct familial link to Rana Kapoor. What our sources have also told us is that 5 top Yes Bank officials are now under the ED lens. My colleague Anilesh has been tracking all developments from the Mumbai ED office. Anilesh, most sinister design of transactions coming to light, which is that DHFL, one of the organizations that failed to pay a loan to Yes Bank, actually gave a loan of 600 crores to an entity linked to Rana Kapoor's family. Tell us more.
Well, absolutely, Shivani, very well spotted, and that is one of the concerns that the agencies have. In fact, you know, when it started, it was all about one entity, that is Yes Bank, not doing financially well. But then, as the investigation has proceeded further, it appears that it could be a case of money laundering, or at least that is the angle that the Enforcement Directorate is probing into. Important to point out here, as one of the things that you already highlighted, how DHFL ended up giving money to the people who were associated, or the family members rather, direct family members of Mr. Kapoor in that case. But what is also important to note here is the relationship between RKW developers and Yes Bank. RKW developers, Shivani, you and I had this conversation in the past when we broke the story about how the company or how the entity was associated with people who were working for Dawood Ibrahim in London. Now that RKW developers gives 750 crore to Yes Bank. What was the nature of the transaction? Who was the eventual beneficiary? What were the circumstances under which the money was transferred to them? And that too, when the bank itself was not doing good, but at the same time it was transferring money to all the people it wanted to. Therefore, since last almost 19 hours, I would say, the question is about the nature of business that Mr. Kapoor and his family were associated with or doing. It is no longer about the condition of Yes Bank, but it is about where there were shell companies. I mean, what was the modus operandi? You know, we have seen in the past when it comes to DHFL, which is at the heart of this entire investigation, 13,000 crores were siphoned off, and there were multiple companies which were floated. Shell companies were used to do transactions. Did it also happen in the case of Yes Bank? That is exactly under transaction. That is exactly under the lens. The transaction is under the lens of the Enforcement Directorate. That is why we see that the questioning is still on in this very building here, and Mr. Kapoor is still inside the building, was brought here around 1 o'clock in the afternoon and hasn't been out since afternoon today, ever since being brought by the Enforcement Directorate.
We're also getting some breaking news right now. Anilesh, please stay on with us as the RBI moves forward to restructure and set right the problems that have been witnessed in Yes Bank. Remember, they've been talking about how the SBI will take a stake of about 49%. They've now appointed Shri Prashant Kumar, who's an ex-DMD and CFO of SBI, as the administrator of Yes Bank. The SBI will also not reduce its holding below 260 before completion of 3 years from the date of infusion of capital. There's also a structure that has been announced as per the value of the shares and the number of shares that SBI will be taking over as well. But even as the RBI continues its process, and remember they have said, Anilesh, that they'll try to sort this out within a week. They don't want to take as long as a month for which the moratorium is on. What is also interesting to note is that several other officials of Yes Bank have come under the scanner because, you know, something like this cannot go on at the individual level of Rana Kapoor alone. You know, there are several who have either been whistleblowers and have been pointing red flags at the way the company was functioning, and there has to be the collusion of other higher officials as well.
Well, absolutely, Shivani. And a short while ago, Aishwarya Kapoor, our political editor, broke this story that how 5 more people are under the scanner of the ED who might be questioned very soon, including 3 top officials from Yes Bank. So yes, you are hinting towards a very right direction and very valid point there, that it cannot be just one family or individual who would be able to cause this massive damage to this entity or organization. That is exactly why this man, ever since brought to questioning, we have seen that now the name of his wife emerged emerges as one of the one of the shareholders in the company, which is called DUV. Then we have heard that there were multiple raids that were conducted basically in Mumbai and Delhi, and then it appeared today that in fact two of his daughters were also a part of the company, which essentially got money from DHFL. So that is just one family in one of the transactions, which is 600 crore. But there is other transaction that had happened, 750 crores by RKW developers. Where did the money go? We don't know about it. That could be another example where we may find that there might be a similar case which we have seen in the past with DHFL. There might be that people related to DHFL might have had a role to play in this. Therefore, it is, I mean, as you rightly said, it's not just one individual or one family. It is also going to be in the direction of whether there were other companies created for the entire transaction. When did the transaction happen? Who was the eventual beneficiary? There are a lot of questions that are still, not out in the public domain as far as the answers are concerned. And that is one of the reasons that we have seen that the questioning has been continuing for last 19 hours. And it appears, Shivani, that is going to continue till midnight today.
Absolutely. Overall, what this brings to light is really the worst fears of everyone. We've seen cases like this crop up over the last few years. And practices that have been employed by several of these lenders is really the focus, because it smacks of blatant mismanagement, also personal interests above the interests of the institution, and large-scale corruption as far as dealings within these companies and between these companies is concerned. Anilesh, I do appreciate you joining us for the meantime.